Well, another year, another Halloween. Let's say we end the Arkham Marathon by looking at the latest entry in the series, this time on the 8th generation of consoles. Hey, look at that, a new system to make reviews with. And seeing how this is meant to be the biggest game in the series, I think I may need a bit of help with this one, which is why I've invited my fiancée, Eve, to assist me.
Trust me, Josh, you're going to need a Batman fan's perspective on this one. Never before has a Batman game been talked about so much since Arkham City came out back in 2011. The ending left us all wondering what was going to happen next and created a hype for the true successor to the Arkham series. But was it all really worth it? Let's begin with the end of the Arkham series.
So Arkham Origins filled our appetites after the massive success of Arkham City, but most players weren't too satisfied with the result. The prequel setting was interesting, but the gameplay lacked originality and felt more like a copy and paste job. It wasn't until June 2015 where Rocksteady gave us the true sequel we were hoping for, titled Batman Arkham Knight, the supposed final game in the series. The version we'll be looking at is the PlayStation 4 version, but you can also get this on the Xbox One, and you used to be able to get this on the PC, but that port is highly infamous for its insane frame rate drop and plentiful crashes, which is why it is now taken off of online servers. That's a really dick move to sell something that broken at full price.
Warner Bros. Montreal and Rocksteady thought that 3 to 4 years before another Arkham game was too long of a wait, which is why Arkham Origins was created to fill in the gap. But honestly, Josh and I would have been personally fine just waiting for the proper sequel. We've done worse, we can take 3 to 4 years. Both of us actually kept our distance from trailers and news for Arkham Knight, so we went in fairly blind and didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, the only thing I knew about the game was that the Scarecrow was returning from Arkham Asylum and was going to act as the main villain this time. I think I may have heard some stuff about the Batmobile being usable as well, but I'm not too sure. And frankly, after fully completing Arkham City, I didn't care about any other Arkham news as I was still completely drained at the time, especially after doing the Riddler stuff. What about you?
I like to go in open-minded. I feel that you can get a better experience with games if you don't go in with preconceptions. You can make your own mind up, and I prefer it that way. Once again, Paul Dini is not involved in the story for Arkham Knight, so Rocksteady has instead put together a team of writers to create a narrative. This is meant to be the concluding chapter to the Arkham trilogy, as said on the back of the box, so it seems that Rocksteady doesn't want to acknowledge Origins' existence. And just like Josh's reviews on the last 3 Arkham games, this plot is going to be spoiled rotten, so skip to this time code here if you don't want the story ruined for you. It's Halloween in Gotham City.
Boy, we're really running through the holidays, aren't we? Next time in the Arkham series, we're setting it on St. Patrick's Day.
How quaint. Scarecrow's the main villain, and it's Halloween night. Not cliché at all. And why are you dressed like that?
It's a wake. I thought I dressed for the occasion.
Anyway, the opening scene starts with the cremation of the Joker, and in a random diner 8 months later, a member of GCPD comes across a mysterious hooded figure with a leaked bag of fear toxin, which causes him to start hallucinating and shooting wildly. Scarecrow then televises himself on the city's monitors, threatening to unleash this new type of fear toxin all over Gotham City. Soon enough, all of Gotham's civilians evacuate in only one night. Yep, one night, that has to be a new record. So either Scarecrow knew this was going to happen and this was his plan to make everybody think they have something to be scared of, or he had absolutely no idea and his plan sort of backfired and he can only use the new gas on his own disciples, wreaking havoc in Gotham. At the very least, this allows the supervillains to join in the mayhem, and with barely any cops to try and stop them, who better to search for the Scarecrow than a man who would flip off the law if it was a person? Batman tracks him down to a hideout where all that's there is an imprisoned Poison Ivy, who refused to join Scarecrow and the other villains to take down the Caped Crusader.
Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle, tells Batman that Scarecrow is located in the Ace Chemicals building, but before he heads in, he's met with a militia, who's led by a masked rival known as the Arkham Knight and is also assisting the Scarecrow. Once he's eventually inside, Batman locates the Scarecrow, who tells him that he's kidnapped Oracle and tricks him into locking himself in the building, which was revealed to have been transformed into a giant toxin bomb. As Batman tries to make the blast radius smaller, the fear toxin starts leaking out and is confronted by the Joker as he's trying to stop it. Kill me now, I cannot take any more Joker!
Josh, it's okay, he's not real.
What?
You see, afterwards we get taken to a flashback where Commissioner Gordon finds Batman, revealing that before the Joker died, he put his diseased blood in blood transfusions, causing 5 people to be infected, including Batman himself, but he still tries to hide it. What's worse, though, is that the other 4 victims that Batman has imprisoned have mentally and physically turned into the Joker, but the Dark Knight, for some reason, is taking a sweet time to change.
Well, how does that work? He took the cure at the end of Arkham City, didn't he? So why is he still changing? Was there an ingredient that Mr. Freeze forgot to add to stop you from turning into the Joker, or has the cure just simply prolonged the inevitable? We kinda need a little more explanation than just Batman's still infected because.
Anyway, once the flashback's done, Batman wakes up to the Joker, now seen as a mental image in his brain that constantly taunts him and causes changes in the Dark Knight's behaviour throughout the rest of the game.
Batman escapes the Ace Chemicals building before it explodes and informs Commissioner Gordon about Oracle's kidnapping. Unsurprisingly, he doesn't take it too well and goes off to find Scarecrow on his own. Batman then finds out that Scarecrow has recruited a businessman called Simon Stagg to create a device for a large amount of the new fear toxin known as the Cloudburst.
After traversing through Stagg's airship, Batman confronts the Scarecrow, who puts a dose of fear toxin on him, temporarily allowing the Joker to take control of him, while the Arkham Knight takes hold of the Cloudburst and Scarecrow runs away like a coward.
Soon after that, Batman locates Oracle, but is unfortunately too late as she shoots herself right in front of him. Oh no, she's really dead, I can't believe it. The Dark Knight heads to Oracle's clock tower, where one of the infected victims, called Henry Adams, explains that Gotham's movie studio is under attack and Robin is in trouble. Harley Quinn then comes out of nowhere, saying that she has the infected Joker victims captive, and it's up to both Batman and Robin, now teaming up for the first time in the series, to get them back. So there's a lot you need to do to finish the main goal of the game. Save the Jokerized victims, learn about the Cloudburst and stop it from activating, and defeat Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight before Batman becomes a Joker himself.
The gameplay for Arkham Knight has slightly expanded from the likes of City and Origins. It's still very much a sandbox game, but now in a sort of Grand Theft Auto style, mostly thanks to the inclusion of the Batmobile, which is now drivable for the first time in the Arkham games. It controls pretty well, but the handling feels a bit stiff when you're pursuing in high-speed chases, most likely causing you to crash into a lot of walls even when using the handbrake. It's a good thing the controls are workable at least, because you're required to use the Batmobile a lot, about 75% of the game. It can be quite a pace breaker too, as some of the areas ask you to constantly get out of the Batmobile and activate a gate or latch a cable onto something to get you back in the car and begin the cycle all over again after only a few yards. This is mainly for a few of the story missions though, so the pain's only temporary, but still there could have been a better way to implement the use of the Batmobile.
At the very least, the Batmobile is great for traveling around Gotham City and getting to your next destination. Hovering above rooftops is still enjoyable, don't get me wrong, but using a car can often get me to my destination faster, and I like it because of that. Not to mention that running over Gotham's criminals and shocking them is rather hilarious. A majority of the time, however, you're really only using the Batmobile to turn into what's commonly named by players as the Bat Tank. At the push of a button, the Batmobile transforms into a monstrosity of a device and allows you to blow up or hijack vehicles, including remote-controlled heavy militia tanks, and knock out goons with rubber bullets. And yes, they stupidly still live despite the speed of the rubber bullets.
This is where most people complain about the use of the Batmobile. Not because of the driving or the puzzle solving, but the fact that you spend most of the time of the game with this bloody tank. The overuse of the Batmobile is especially noticeable with the militia side quests, where a couple of them have you constantly chase around armoured vehicles and use a few missiles to blow them up, or use the Bat Tank to deploy a virus onto mines around Gotham and then blow up more militia tanks. It's almost downright ridiculous how much Batman needs to use his car to get anything done. Without it, this game would be pretty much over in about 10 minutes. We can only guess that Rocksteady saw how unoriginal Arkham Origins was and wanted to make damn sure that they added something new to the formula, and well, they sure did.
Of course, cars and explosions are not the only thing you do in this game. The on-foot gameplay is still marginally the same as it was in Arkham City and Origins, and Batman still controls like a dream as he did in those games, but we still have to hold a button to run. Why has that not been fixed yet? Punching foes is just as satisfying as it ever was, flying around Gotham is still fun to do and even more fun to do now that we also have the Batmobile, and there's a lot of stuff to do in this game. New mechanics to the series are the fear takedowns, environmental takedowns, and the partner system. Fear takedowns are awesome. They let you instantly knock out 3 unaware enemies at a time, or up to 5 at a time when you upgrade it. You have to do a silent takedown to be able to do so again, but the fear takedowns are a great addition to the combat and aren't quite as overpowered as the shock gloves were in Arkham Origins, though I do kinda wish we had them back. I love the shock gloves, they were a lot of fun to use. It was one of the only things I really enjoyed about Origins. The only unfortunate thing about the fear takedowns is that you can't use them on big thugs, which is kind of a shame, but I suppose it would have been too game-breaking otherwise. Environmental takedowns are pretty sweet to use too. Like the fear takedowns, they incapacitate opponents with one hit before breaking and becoming unusable. These you can use on big thugs as well as smaller thugs, so smash those skulls and deliver the pain. The partner system is also fun to play around with, though sadly these are very few and far between. When the circular meter is full, you can choose to play as one of Batman's party members, including Catwoman, Robin, and Nightwing, who all have a moderately more easy time taking out foes. They don't have as many gadgets as Batman, but they're all faster and more efficient than he is, making Batman look like an utter pansy in comparison. I certainly would have liked more of this kind of gameplay. They add a whole new take on the Arkham series to make it refreshing, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. Hell, teaming up with Robin in the movie studios is probably the best part of the game for me because of that and having that isolated feeling like an Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Knight may also have the most variety when it comes to the enemies. We've got the usual big thugs, small thugs, ninjas and martial artists, but now we also have big thugs with knives, big thugs with riot shields and big thugs with a freaking minigun. The most irritating of the bunch though are medics that revive knockdown opponents and give them flowing electricity that shocks Batman when you touch them.
Oh, those guys are assholes.
Gadget wise, Batman's arsenal is still exactly the same as it was in Arkham City and none of the tools from Origins have returned, but they were pretty minor anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. The only new gadget to Arkham Knight is the voice synthesizer, which allows you to mimic the voice of another character to open certain doors, trick enemies to move somewhere else briefly, and command the Riddler's robots to help Batman solve his puzzles. It's a pretty mundane add-on to the Dark Knight's utility belt, but it is insanely funny to hear him talk with Harley Quinn's squeaky voice.
Check that weapons crate!
I wasn't kidding when I said there was a lot of stuff to do in this game. Completing the story mode alone 100% with all the side quests finished will take roughly around 30 hours. The story itself should take maybe 15 to 20 hours to finish, but completing the side quests will add up another 10 to 15 hours. And on top of that, you've also got the option of doing challenges, playing exactly the same as last time. Sneak up, engage in combat, biff baff boosh. There's a DLC pack that includes the Scarecrow Nightmare missions, and no, they're not like the Nightmare segments in Arkham Asylum. They're all races through a hellish Gotham City ending with a tank battle against a giant Scarecrow. These are fairly enjoyable, but I think they go on a bit too long, and they're not as intense as sneaking around the giant Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum.
Well, going back to the side quests, they're rather hit and miss this time. We already mentioned the militia tank battles and the hot pursuits, but you can also disperse the militia checkpoints and watchtowers. To put it bluntly, all of the militia side quests are boring as sin and way too plentiful. What's really odd though, is that the side quests with the supervillains only have 3 to 5 segments to them, but the militia stuff has around 10 to 20. Christ, you think that's enough? At least the supervillain side quests are a little more interesting. They can each be a little repetitive after a while, but they all have a hint of character added to them, and a slight change to the gameplay, making them all the more intriguing. For example, with the side quest involving Two-Face's bank robberies, you need to take out all of the goons before they steal all of the money, while with the Penguin side quest, you need to team up with Nightwing and dispose of his henchmen before blowing up his weapon caches. They're not fantastic by any means, but they're engaging enough to be deemed worthy of playing. Not all of them are fun to play though. The return of Hush only served as a minor inconvenience before going back out into the city, and chasing down Firefly can be annoying because he moves so quickly and loves to go through tight turns.
I didn't think it was that bad. I was more annoyed with the Man-Bat side quest for having to search all around the city for him.
See, I like that one.
I only managed to encounter him by accident and hearing his screeches. If it wasn't for that, I'd have had to wait forever for Alfred to tell me where he is. In fact, pretty much all of the side quests require you to search around Gotham or wait for Alfred to talk to you. I know that it's all part of the exploration aspect of the game, but considering how much there is to do, a little clarification would have been nice. Especially when it comes to finding certain things to advance, like Azrael's burning bat symbols or Professor Pig's hanging victims. Some of these side quests are downright pointless too, like the Hush one we talked about earlier, as well as Deacon Blackfire, who only has a single part to his side quest. It only involves beating up a very large group of followers in an electrified fence, which is entertaining to do, but there's not really much point in including Deacon Blackfire if he wasn't going to do anything to Gotham. And oh dear God, need I say anything about the Deathstroke battle. So you overall have plenty to choose from if any of them take your fancy. However, while you don't need to complete all of the side quests, it's required if you want to get the full ending to the game. And that includes, once again, collecting all of the Riddler's trophies. I ain't gonna beat around the bush, this side quest blows yet again for a 4th time. I'm really struggling to think of new things to say about this. I am so sick of these godforsaken riddles. I mean, good grief, how does collecting trophies and participating in races that you've somehow quickly constructed count as riddles? Who's the jackass that keeps asking for these stupid things to come back, and why haven't they been held on trial yet? You know what the unfortunate thing is though? As tedious and brain cell killing as this fetch quest is, the boss fight with the Riddler afterwards is possibly the best one in the game. That's not saying much, it's a pretty typical Arkham fight, just punch the enemies until Riddler leaves himself vulnerable. But the main reason I'd say it's the best is because all the other boss battles completely suck.
Tell me about it. Who screwed up with these fights? They're all terrible. If the supervillains don't go down with one press of a button, they're put inside a large vehicle. For instance, Josh and I were really hoping for a proper Harley Quinn fight this time, something a little better than there was in Harley Quinn's Revenge from Arkham City. But sadly for us, we were not so lucky, as she goes down in the most pathetic way to bring justice. The Arkham Knight boss fights are the only ones that can be seen as the actual story battles, but even these are badly designed. The helicopter battle is just a game of how quickly you can shoot the Vulcan cannon, and his armoured vehicle later on in the game goes way too damn fast when it's chasing you, and it has a stupid amount of weak points that you need to destroy. The closest Arkham Knight, that is the game, gets to a good story boss is with the giant drill. This is a little more interesting with its cat and mouse sort of gameplay to it, but it can be quite tricky to know where you need to make your turns, thank God for a map. It's at least better than the fight with the Arkham Knight himself, who reveals himself to be Jason Todd, one of the 3 Robins Batman hired as his sidekick and got himself captured and supposedly killed by the Joker due to his recklessness.
I'm not a big Batman nerd myself, but is it true that most of the fans could figure out the identity of the Arkham Knight almost instantly?
Pretty much, yeah. Even with his synthesized voice, his complaining was what gave it away, since that was a very big trait of Jason Todd. Anyway, about the Arkham Knight fight, or Red Hood as we should now call him. All you need to do is avoid his line of sight and grapple onto his voyage points 4 times before defeating him.
Wait, that's it? This guy's been built up throughout the entire game and this is how he's beaten? Just by grabbing him 4 times?
Yep.
What happened, Rocksteady? How did you go from these awesome bosses in Arkham City to not even trying with them here? Hell, even Arkham Origins had some neat bosses, so why couldn't Arkham Knight? You know what the sad thing is, though? This is the final boss of the game. Yep. What, did you think Scarecrow was gonna be the last boss? Pfft, what are you, stupid? Of course he isn't. That's like having the Joker as the final boss in Arkham Origins. No. You see, the infected Joker victims all get killed off by Henry Adams, who's fully turned into the Joker. Harley is then put in a cell afterwards while the Arkham Knight activates the Cloudburst, which is nothing more than a massive fart filled with the new fear toxin. Batman then has Poison Ivy revive an ancient tree to rid of the Cloudburst at the cost of her life. And after debating whether to feel sorry for her, Scarecrow has captured Oracle, who, big shock, is still alive, but Commissioner Gordon shoots Batman in exchange for Oracle. However, that wasn't what Scarecrow wanted, so he kidnaps him and Robin. Batman goes to Scarecrow and gives up his utility belt without thinking of any sort of plan and hands himself over. Scarecrow then unmasks Batman, revealing to the world that he is Bruce Wayne. Scarecrow then, for some reason, wants to inject more fear toxin into Batman, but conveniently he's now fully turned into another Joker. Which means that we're now playing the game from the Joker's perspective, where his fear is being forgotten, and soon enough, Batman, or at least the Batman inside Batman's head, locks the Joker inside a mental cell and casts him away to no longer be remembered.
Batman comes back to reality and gives Scarecrow a dose of fear toxin, showing his fears of a room full of bats. Odd. I always thought that was Batman's fear from his childhood, but oh well. Scarecrow gets taken to jail with absolutely no boss fight, and the full ending involves Batman heading to the Bat Signal to let Commissioner Gordon know that the supervillains are in custody and that the cops can come out and take Gotham back. Batman then heads back to Wayne Manor as he and Alfred activate the Nightfall Protocol, which is basically setting the place on fire, believing that Batman and Alfred are burning alive inside. We're pretty sure they're not dead, but we'll probably never know for sure. Sometime later, everything in Gotham is back in tip-top shape. Gordon is now mayor, Robin and Oracle are getting married, and as 2 criminals gang up on a couple coming out of a theatre, a shadowy figure is seen on the rooftops known as the Nightmare Bat, who disposes of the criminals and leaves the game with a cliffhanger that we'll most likely never see a resolution to.
Now for the DLC. Well, aside from the bajillion costumes characters can wear, including some skins for the Batmobile, you can also purchase a few story packs where you take control of Harley Quinn, Red Hood, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Catwoman. The Harley Quinn, Red Hood, and Nightwing DLC only last around 10 to 20 minutes each, while the Batgirl DLC is a little more meaty, lasting around over an hour. Even I love playing as Harley Quinn, and I think Red Hood's really enjoyable too, but their story packs are so ridiculously short that it pisses us off we're not left with more. I especially love Harley Quinn's Mayhem mode. Knocking out police with one swing of her bat is so damn satisfying to do, and since you can only do it a few times before the meter runs out, you can't abuse it. The objective of Harley Quinn's story pack is to rescue Poison Ivy, while Red Hood has you locate Black Mask and take him out, and Batgirl needs to save Commissioner Gordon from the Joker and Harley along with their faithful friend Robin. Oh yeah, and this takes place on Valentine's Day and before Arkham Asylum. Careful with those holidays, guys, you got 9 left. And with Nightwing's DLC you have to find the Penguin, while Catwoman's DLC has you look for the Riddler. Phew, and there you have it, Batman Arkham Knight. Is this the coup de grace we were all hoping for to see off the Arkham series? Honestly, out of Rocksteady's trilogy of Arkham games, I think this is the weakest one of the bunch.
Really? I'd say it was the second best out of the series.
I find Arkham Knight to be a way better game than Arkham Origins, but no way in hell is it as mind-blowing as Arkham Asylum and City was. The combat and enemy variety's been improved tremendously, but the Bat Tank sections and a portion of the side quests are just too tedious to enjoy, and the story isn't as captivating as the other games were. I really wish they didn't have to rely on the Joker again, but thinking about it, considering that Scarecrow's the main villain of the game, I'm not sure how else he can make Batman afraid aside from taking it back to his childhood when his parents died. I still think Harley Quinn should have been the antagonist of the story because I believe she has a much bigger motivation to destroy Gotham than Scarecrow does for thinking Batman left him at the hands of Killer Croc in Asylum. Maybe the two of them could have teamed up to create even bigger chaos, that would have been cool as well. The story isn't terrible overall, but plot devices like the mystery of the Arkham Knight and Batman turning into the Joker leads to a very disappointing payoff. Story and some of the side quests aside, the core gameplay is still just as fun as it ever was, and even with all of our complaints, I was actually kinda sad to have finished the game, but that's probably because there's no indication of another game coming out, so we may never see a continuation to this.
Psychological is a word that's commonly used to describe the narrative of this game, but that's really what it is. I agree that Harley Quinn should have been the main villain of Arkham Knight, but Rocksteady pretty much ruined it for themselves with Harley Quinn's revenge. So to carry on with the theme of mind games in the Arkham universe, who better than the Scarecrow? I was quite pissed off that Poison Ivy died as well, instead of Oracle. Her role in saving Gotham didn't really need to have her sacrifice her life, and the whole scene was a bit overdramatic. At least if Oracle died, it would give Batman a bigger driving force, but with Poison Ivy, it was just an easy way to tick off one less criminal to put in jail. As for the gameplay, there were so many points where the game could have ended, but it just carried on, and it seriously dragged with all the militia stuff. Put in some better boss battles and get rid of the militia side quests, and then we'll talk. Arkham City was the overall best in the series for me, but having access to the Batmobile led to a lot more possibilities in varying the gameplay. And that's why, to me, despite all the criticisms we've made, I enjoyed it more than Arkham Asylum. As good as Asylum was, it's rather dated now, and the prettier graphics in Arkham Knight further sweeten the deal for me. Graphically, the game is unbelievably gorgeous and takes full advantage of what the current age of gaming can do. The sound is also just as gratifying as it was before, creating a great immersion to what's going on around you.
Oh man, I really love the sound of hitting somebody in this game. Such a big amount of oomph to it.
Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill return once more as Batman and the Joker, and their delivery is just as grand as it was in Arkham Asylum and City. The only issue with how the game looks and feels is that, like Arkham Origins, it's pretty glitchy even with the several gigabytes of patches you can download.
I don't find them to be quite as bad as they were in Arkham Origins, but when they do occur, they can sometimes be pretty annoying. Special mention to this part here where I couldn't leave the room no matter what I did. This bit in the Riddler fight where his shield wouldn't go down despite destroying his robot minions. And this part in one of the Scarecrow nightmares where I drove into the abyss, and then when I came back and went through that bit, the game froze on me shortly after. And that, folks, is the end of the Arkham series marathon, one of the best superhero games franchises of this generation. Hell, possibly of all time. The Arkham series has games that are bound to be played for years yet to come and still be loved. Even Arkham Asylum, with all of its basic mechanics compared to the later games, has a lot of credibility to it. Batman, as much of a miserable douche he can be at times, you and Rocksteady have brought some fantastic games that many others can take inspiration from, like The Amazing Spider-Man. But now that the Arkham series is finished, I am very curious as to what Rocksteady's planning to do next. Hopefully we'll hear from them soon. It'd be nice to see them again.
Well, there are a lot of Superman Easter eggs in this game, so it's pretty clear Rocksteady want to try and be the first to finally make a good Superman video game.
And with all said and done, we're going to be looking at something fairly small next time because I need a break from all this hardcore cinematic stuff before I lose my mind. So the next review will be on Super Mario Maker for the Wii U. Eve, thanks very much for joining me today.
You're not welcome.
Oh, good stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this video and look forward to more.
I'm stuck in his head and not laughing. I'd be better off dead.